trait of the sociopath is that they want you to know their crimes. Like, they leave a mark. With this particular patient, he was like, absolutely not. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt you. And if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to fucking hurt you too. When he started working with me, he wanted to tell me about all the bodies he had and where they were buried. And this guy really was something else. I could feel it. I could feel it in my blood, in my bones, in my body, that he was not all there. And I just knew he was vacant. It was empty. He found out that his cellmate was a child molester. So he woke up in the middle of the night while this guy was sleeping, grabs his spoon, gouges both of his eyeballs out with the spoon. So the patient who played me, his cell was like front and centered, and I can see the cell right behind this treatment module. And he's masturbating. And he's just masturbating. I'm like, am I really seeing this? But I don't want to see this.
Knew
but like,
you were going to say
my
this.
brain
I knew you were
couldn't
going to say
function.
this. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Maddie.
And this is
The Newport Psycho. So we are joined today by Dr. Kajal Sakhrani.
Hi, guys.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you are.
Okay, so I am a clinical psychologist who's primarily worked in the forensic space for the past 10 years. I currently work at a maximum security level for prison. I also have a private practice in which I treat high functioning patients, and I call them high functioning, but everyday people like you and myself, with relational work. And I do a lot of random things. So I do workers' comp evaluations. I do autism spectrum disorder testing. So I'm kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But the bulk of my work is my forensic work, my prison work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's that.
This gets into a really good question.
And then outside of that, I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl.
Just a girl.
You're a lot. I mean, that's a lot right there. I'm just a girl. So out of all these things, who or what is your psycho?
Oh my gosh, what a question. So on a larger scale, I think the world is just psycho, and that's a part of my psycho, right? Because I'm thinking about big picture things. On a micro level, life, my life, but primarily the work that I do. I'm a psychoanalyst working with a lot of psychopathy. So folks who have been clinically diagnosed with sociopathy, psychopathy, which we call antisocial personality disorder. So it's kind of my psycho is my work and my work environment.
So there's psycho in so many of those things that you
Isn't that psycho?
So it's
things. Crazy.
So I'm okay. So what made you get into this field?
Yeah. So I've always wanted to work in the forensic space. Primarily, when I say forensic, I mean where psychology and the law meet, they intersect, but primarily within the correction space. So the prison setting. And I've always wanted to work in that space. I wrote my dissertation on it because I think that population is severely underserved. There's a lot of coexisting stuff, co-occurring what we call disorders. So just a lot of mental health concerns, right? And that's within that population. But then also on a socio-political level, there's a lot of not so great stuff that takes place in incarceration and the prison system. So I wanted to get in there and make a little bit of a difference.
Kind of turn the pages, even if they're slow, but kind of turn the page.
Exactly.
Make it better.
Yeah.
Okay. I do have to ask because we do have the word psycho in our name, which is what do they call it online? That Urban Dictionary type of psycho.
Yeah.
But can you describe the actual word for us?
Yeah. So psychopathy is very much the sister or the brother of sociopathy, right? And those two fall under the umbrella of what we call clinically antisocial personality disorder. Kind of falls under that diagnosis, which for context, 80 to 90% of my inmates, my patients are diagnosed with that. Okay. But essentially what it means is that you have the ability to do some not so great things without much feeling. and like more on a biological level, there's something in the individual's brain, and that's like the psychopathy part, that is just not working. It doesn't work like your brain or my brain.
Like a chemical
So
imbalance.
they lack empathy in a sense.
Yeah, they can be very
And
cold.
that's like serial killers.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can be very calculated, very manipulative. They can look like you or me. They blend into society like really well because they know how to mirror our behaviors. They know how
Holy
to.
hell.
Yeah.
That's
so
honestly
they just
my question. I was literally about to ask her, like, so what is like the mind, like what is inside the mind of like, let's say a serial killer that differentiates from ours? Like what, so is it just purely the chemical imbalance that they like?
So the part of our brain, so there's something called like the amygdala, which helps us sort of regulate our emotions. Like they just don't have that part of their brain, like that taps into the feelings, right? And kind of also the frontal lobe, which helps us with like planning and understanding and critical thinking. It just doesn't exist, or it's severely impaired. And so that is what allows them to do some of the to do a lot of the things that they do without any remorse, right? So they can just do it willy-nilly, where for someone like us, like you and I,
Oh my gosh.
we would be thinking about their feelings, what other people would think, like, or we would be flooded with guilt and shame. And
I'm
they
an
just
Aquarius.
don't.
I can't. I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I literally would.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
They're like, what is that? Right?
Like-
It just like doesn't exist, and it's not in their
Oh,
it's not in their brain.
It just, they lack so much like emotional like functioning.
Yes.
Like,
that's a
that's
really good way of putting
crazy.
it. Yeah. They lack emotional functioning. It just truly just like does not function in the way that like it would function for us.
Do they feel love? Like, do they feel like they don't feel any, like, do they
When
feel
it's
love?
psychopathy, they don't. When it's sociopathy, which is more like you're socialized, you're conditioned.
So would that be like considered like on layman's terms, right? Would that be considered like sociopath versus like psychopath?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know that we hear the terms a lot, like
Yeah,
psychopath and
yes.
sociopath, but it's
Mhm.
like
Yes.
psycho. It's so sorry, you tell me again. So it's
Yeah.
like psychopathy.
Yeah. So
And then
psychopathy, which is like a
psychopathy?
psychopath,
Okay.
and sociopathy, which is like a sociopath.
Okay.
So
got it.
the
got it.
chances of us being around sociopaths is a lot higher.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Because they're more like socialized to be like that. They've typically gone through some sort
Is it
of
adaptive?
It's adaptive.
Okay.
Yes, they're surviving, right? They've gone
Okay.
through some type of trauma. They've had really maybe like a really rough life, and so the majority of like my patients have experienced trauma from a very young age, and so they had to adapt to their environment in order to survive. And a lot of that adapting looked like maybe committing some crimes, like maybe hurting other people, maybe, stealing or like even using substances, which like led them to do some of the things that they did. And so, yeah.
Where on the other case, they just did it.
They're
to do
born
it.
like that.
They're just happened.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
But so the ones that you feel like were nurtured in a sense, they started from childhood. Do you feel like that's where it stems from?
Typically.
Yeah.
Because most of our behaviors, like most of the shaping of who we are as individuals come from like our most earliest like experiences. And that's typically in childhood.
What's the most crucial age range for that to happen?
That's a really good question. I don't know what the research shows on that, but I know that we start to develop from the moment that we're infants, right? So if you're a crying baby and you're not getting held or fed or nurtured, then that's gonna have an impact on you, right? So that's gonna start to shape your ability to feel safety, to feel cared for, right? You're gonna start to develop different ways of surviving. So maybe if you're a baby that's not getting food, you might cry a little bit more, cry a little bit louder, right? You start to, like you said, adapt to your environment in order to survive. So it starts actually in infancy, and then it starts to develop, just depending on how our caregivers care for us.
So crazy, because my younger cousin, she's like a sister to me. Her newborn son is 8 weeks old. I went to go visit them recently, and she was just talking to me about this, where we had this conversation and we were talking about how things happen at such an adolescent age, and she's like, no, it starts from right now. It starts from right now. She's like, I'm not going to let my baby cry. There's some people, which everybody does their own thing, but she's like, there's some people who just let the baby cry, and they're like, you just let him cry it out. She's like, no, I feel like that's going to cause him to like have like this anxiety of like having to cry louder and scream louder when I can just nurture him. And we had this like conversation. So it's funny that you bring that up because I'm like, it's really true.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of attachment theory?
No, what's that?
It's sort of how we engage with folks, like people as adults, right? I mean, the theory essentially states that the way that we show up in life within our relationships is based on how we were cared for when we were younger. So if we were not nurtured as children, then we will most likely develop some sort of like distrust in people, maybe some anxiety. I mean, everyone's different on how it shows up, but there's some like larger like umbrella, behaviors that we present with. But how we were cared for as children is how we show up as adults.
Wow.
Specifically in our relationships.
There was like I forget who, it was a philosopher, maybe somebody who definitely had a PhD, but there was this one phrase that always has stuck with me. It's like, he said, give me a boy from 0 to 7 and I'll show you the man.
That's deep.
And I was like, it really like struck me because I thought it's not even just for men. It's like for women, men,
for
everybody. But that was like so like hardcore. I'm like, wow, 0 to 7, such influential time in your years.
Yes.
And then he'll show you the person that she'll be. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like it shows that sometimes people's childhood can be awful and they're an amazing person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like just because you had trauma doesn't mean you're gonna be trauma. You know what I'm saying? You can grow, you can go either way, but it does shape you.
Totally. And I will say, like, just to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, like working with folks who have committed like really horrible crimes and done some really, what we would consider like, oh my God, how could you can't even comprehend it, right? Also have these parts of them are like that are not so bad,
that
right?
Are like sweet.
That are sweet and like kind and vulnerable and soft a little bit even, And so it's like that person is in there. It just takes our like having some self-awareness and motivation to want to be a little bit different. And maybe, and really research shows this, the right support system around you. So
you're around like obviously these types of people all the time.
Yeah.
And you can probably read people really easily, I'm guessing. And like you kind of know cues, I mean, you obviously know. I don't know, And so like, do you ever like go out and you're like, like just even conversations with people, you're like, ooh, like you kind of like have like little things that you're like, ooh, this is interesting.
Yes.
A little bit about them,
like I'm like, there's a flavor. I call it a flavor.
She calls it flavor.
Like,
she calls it flavor.
There's something that I taste. I don't know. Something's a little spicy. Something's a little hot.
Sour.
Something, I should drink some water and walk away. Like
you kind
something
of
doesn't
like
feel
little
right.
cues, right?
Yes.
I feel like that would hit me all the time. I'd be like, ooh, I'm not.
If a guy comes on too strong, that's a flavor to me.
Yeah.
Example.
No,
It's an example.
Right.
Yeah. It's a flavor.
Yeah.
And
it's a flavor
like,
you don't want to
sociopaths do that. They tend to do that.
Flavor.
Yeah.
I've learned that flavor.
Doesn't it taste bad?
It's terrible.
It's horrible.
It's the worst flavor
one
you
wants
can
that
ever
flavor.
have. No
It's
one
like-
wants
No,
that
it's
flavor.
like,
That
I'm
flavor.
going to
vanilla,
throw
this
up
flavor,
in
not
3
that
weeks.
flavor, okay?
Something is going to
I've
go
had a
wrong
taste-
here.
I've definitely tasted that flavor, and that's not it. And then you learn that you become allergic to that flavor.
Yeah,
and that
you
flavor
become
really
like,
sends you to the
I need to
hospital.
go travel with my EpiPen from now on. 'Cause
Somebody,
I can't.
no. Okay, so can I ask you, like, what is like the worst? I guess should I say psycho or should I say like
Sociopath.
sociopath?
Yeah.
That you've, okay, so I'm saying
Yeah,
correct.
or even psychopath.
Or
yeah,
even
both,
psychopath.
both.
Which, like, what is the worst sociopath or psychopath that you've ever encountered? Obviously, you can't say names, like, but like you can say situations.
Yeah, exactly. So like disclaimer, I can't.
Yeah,
Anything that's confidential. So I'm giving you
HIPAA,
sort of
yes,
exactly.
Of course,
Yeah.
we absolutely respect that. You can't say any names, anything like that, but you can speak of situations.
Yes. So I think the worst, I would say, okay, there's like a couple that stand out, and I'll give you both. I'll give you psychopath and I'll give you sociopath.
I love that. I love the two extremities. Yeah.
Okay. So sociopath. The first one that stands out just off the top of my head is this patient who he, and this is kind of a trait of the sociopath, is they want you to know some of their their crimes. Like they leave a mark, right? And so like historically, sociopaths, specifically serial killers, they'll leave like a little bit of proof that they were there.
Like they want to get caught.
They want you to know that they did this.
It's like the Zodiac when he would send the messages. Like
yes,
they want he'd give specifics about the crime because he wanted you to know that it was him.
It was him. It's more of like a brag, like I did this versus I want to, like. And that's another characteristic that sort of stands out. It's less calculated. It's less. It's more dysregulated emotionally. Like they're not really thinking all of this like all the way through, whereas a psychopath is going to be a little bit more discreet, a much more planning involved, much more, I keep using the word calculated because they think through the crimes, and a part of what they're going to think about is not getting caught, right? Whereas the sociopath is a little bit more like
laissez-faire almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're okay with letting things out. They want you to know. So this particular patient, he was like, Dr. Sakhrani, this is what I did. And he was very open about who he hurt, which was really sad and really tragic.
Did he kill someone?
Multiple people.
Or was a serial killer?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, Maddie, hello. Serial killer.
Yeah. That's a couple.
And we're not talking about Captain Crunch cereal.
Yeah, sorry. So several people.
Yes, several people. And the thing about him that stood out was that he was just, with most of the guys that I work with, quite honestly, there is a part of them, a side to them that, dare I say, is kind of likable. Like when the layers start to peel back, there are sides to them that actually start, and that is a part of the work though, right? And that's my job as a clinician, is to get to that part
where those good parts start coming out.
Yes.
That's who they become. That it shows more of that side of them instead of this darker side.
Yeah. And then in
that
space, that's where we start to do the work.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, they're open, they're vulnerable, they trust me, like we've built a working relationship, and now we can start to like develop the motivation to create some change, hopefully. That's the goal. But with this particular patient, he was like, absolutely not. Fuck you. I'm going to hurt you. And if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to fucking hurt you too.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, you got to get out of my office right now. We're done here. But I forgot the question now. What was
we were just doing like psychopaths versus sociopaths.
The worst that you've dealt with.
Okay. So that was, you know what? That was worse. And like, I didn't really, he brought something up in me that I didn't like. And so I had to just kind of cut him off. But
that's like your gut telling you, like, there's just something not it. Like it's no,
because now there's a risk to my safety.
Exactly.
Exactly. He was like, I don't care what you've got for me, lady. I'm done.
I ain't taking it.
No. There's another guy who he was a serial killer also. He's part of the Mexican mafia. And and this is just also broad because a lot of my patients are Mexican mafia. So he's Mexican mafia. And he was, when I first met him, he wasn't actually my patient. He wasn't actually my patient. And he was talking about how he wanted to hurt this guy who was a child molester in prison. And so within prison, like, it is true, if you are a child molester, if you've hurt kids, you are going to be a target. They are going to come for you.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
It is so real.
Yeah.
Like, I have
that.
seen it with my own two eyes. Like, people just get destroyed over that. And I just kind of like freakishly turn around and look the other way because it's true. And it's like jarring. Right. But this particular person was like, he was talking about how what he was going to do to this like child molester, right? And I was like, okay. Wasn't my patient, kind of, and then didn't see him after that. And then a year later, he ends up in my office. Now he's my patient. I'm like, oh my God, I remember this guy. Because I remember that he scared the shit out of me when he was
you're like
talking
he
like
left
that.
Like an imprint on you.
He did. And it was like early on in my career within the system. So I was like, oh, I'm not used to this just yet.
Yeah.
So I fast forward, now he's it wasn't a year later. I think it was like 2 or 3 years later. He was in my office. And when he started working with me, he was very much like he wanted to tell me about all the bodies he had and where they were buried. And Dr. Sakhrani, you know what? If they ever asked me, I'm gonna tell you where they are, and they're here, 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 and here. You can tell them. And he said he was gonna write this book and he was gonna talk all about it, right? And I was like, okay, and I try not to react because I know that's what they want,
Yeah,
right?
you don't want to give a reaction.
They're wanting that reaction from you. How many bodies did he bury?
He had 18. Yeah.
Do they tell you how they did it? Like
sometimes
some of them like leave it like a certain mark, right?
Yeah.
Like where they have like how they do it.
Yeah. Sometimes like the psychopath I'll tell you about, he told me all about it. But so I try not to engage with that, right? Like I try not to go there with them because that's what they want. And that's not what I'm there to do.
No.
Right.
That's not the work. Right. And so he's talking to me all about that. And then we worked together for a significant amount of time. Like he started to really trust me, I think. Layers start peeling back. And then he starts to tell me why he did it. And then I start to learn about his life and his childhood and what caused him to hurt the people that he hurt. And then because a part of the work is also checking yourself and like really paying attention to what's coming up for you as you're doing the work with your patient. Whether I'm working with a sociopath or someone like yourselves, like I'm always having to check in with myself, right, to make sure that's not interfering with the work that we're doing. And so I'm starting to I'm like, oh my gosh, I kind of I like him like as a person, and then the layers are peeling back even more and more. And I'm learning about his traumas, and it's helping me understand sociopathy. And I'm understanding, right, like what drove him to do what he did. And then he starts telling me about his wife and then he brings in photos of her and then his kids, and he's bringing in photos. And I'm like, he did some really horrendous things, even in prison. Like he had assaulted a ton of people. His focus was child molesters. He had assaulted a ton of them. He was like a death row guy. Like they were like trying to get him onto death row. Like he had done so many bad things in prison. But then I was like, you're not, there's a side of you that is very
like doing
different.
It for a good cause, but like it's
right.
not in
It's
the
like,
right
are you
way.
Robin Hood? And like, do I get it? Like,
it's
like I get that you want to like hurt child molesters because that's awful.
Yeah, you don't want to hurt people,
but you also don't like.
So
you don't want to hurt people.
So
like,
I can understand where you're coming from, where you like kind of like him.
Yes.
But then you're like, you've also killed 18 people.
Yeah.
And then assaulted a ton in there.
Yeah.
Too.
And I think it was actually more than that. He had 18 buried bodies.
Oh.
Yeah. I think there were more than that. Yeah.
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 So
yeah.
Plus.
So like a lot
like
of people.
Plus.
Right. 18 plus.
18 plus. But you're like, but he's kind of likable.
But he's just, he was. And I was like, oh God, I really enjoy working with this guy. It's not that crazy. Like it's rewarding. And so that was like one, like sociopath. And then psychopath. I had a patient who.
So he was sociopathic.
Yes.
Okay. So this is now psychopath.
Yeah.
Oh,
and this guy really was something else. He was, I could feel it. I could feel it in my blood, in my bones, in my body, that there was something, he was not all there. Right. And he was a true, like cold dude.
I'm like Jeffrey Dahmer type of stuff. Feel
like, and you can tell. And one of my very first supervisors said this to me, like, you can see it in their eyes. Like you're gonna know, you'll just know. And I just knew he was vacant. It was empty. You can't see emotion. When you look at people, sometimes you're like, oh, they look so kind, or like
so sweet.
You like feel emotion, right?
Get,
and
like goosebumps and
chills, like chills. I'm like chills just even thinking.
I know,
about
right? I'm like,
honestly, I'm like,
right now.
I feel it right now, and I could see his face in my mind. It's like etched in there, but
I'm like scared.
Me too.
Never met the guy, but
I don't
I'm
like
scared.
Scary movies, and this is like a real life horror story.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
Keep going though.
He was nice to me, but he started to tell me about what. So I worked in for a long time the prison within the prison in the prison. So it's like when you do something bad in the prison, you get sent to the hole or the shoe, and that's where I worked for a long time. Which is why I met the guy who would like the child molester guy who was like killing people because he was in the hole.
Yep.
Yeah. And then this other guy who was in the hole for why he was in the hole was he found out that his cellmate. So the guys in prison, they share a really small cell, and it's like 2 grown men in this cell. So it can be really, that can be like a triggering experience. But he found out that his cellmate was a child molester. Once again, there's a theme here.
Not the guy to put him with. Okay. Good Lord, people.
And he had
Someone's
experienced
gonna die.
Someone's gonna die. Dun, dun,
It's
dun.
going to be the child molester.
like
there's a tracker.
Seriously?
Prison roommates. I mean, maybe they did it on purpose. I don't know, but
you know what? Sometimes they do things like that.
I feel like
I was
they
gonna
do.
say,
That
sometimes
shit
the
is
I hate to
officers-
say it, but it could have been on purpose.
Yes.
But I don't know.
Yes. There is some shit that goes down, and I think that's a part of the psycho is the environment. It's not only the patients, but like the patients clinically, but the environment. You know, it can be really, really, really wild. Anyways, he found out, and he was like, and he told me, he's like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that they would put him in my cell. So he woke up in the middle of the night while this guy was sleeping, grabs his spoon, gouges his eyeballs out, both of his eyeballs out with a spoon, not even a knife or a fork, a spoon, no sharp edges here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he
just a lot of force.
Like, can you imagine? Like,
good thing I haven't eaten in a couple hours because that was gonna come up.
I was shocked. Like that one, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what?
What?
That is like,
there's not a
seriously,
lot
like, the
that
first thing
shocks
that
me,
comes to
but
mind.
that
Wait,
shocked
wait,
me.
did this guy survive?
No, he killed him.
Okay.
Then he bit his fingers off, and then he ultimately killed him. I think
So
he
it was
strangled him or
torture.
something. He took, and that's what he wanted, and that's what he said. I wanted to torture him. Mhm.
Did this guy not scream or anything, or did just people like? I guess.
Yeah,
Yep. We don't know.
probably-
We weren't there.
Yeah,
So how many people has this guy killed?
that I don't know, but that was a very he had that
And he didn't feel
psychopathic.
remorse
It's like the
about it.
Jeffrey
No,
Dahmer.
he was just like,
No.
"This is what I did." Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
like who's the other big killer? Jeffrey Dahmer. Like
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, because
What
they
was
like
the
to
guy that-
torture their.
Mhm.
They
What
like
was
to
the guy
torture.
that dressed up as a clown? Something
Oh,
Casey, Daisy. Oh, I'll have to figure it out. But
Oh my gosh!
there's
But
a-
they were like they like to torture like that.
yeah.
So it's like the
I
biting
didn't
the
feel-
fingers, like
yeah.
the
The slow death
the
of it
slow
all,
death
right? It's
was
not a
like-
gun, a stabbing. It's like, yeah,
And does that to them feel good?
yes.
Like it's like a good
he
feeling.
the way he talked about it was like he was so like proud almost, like, well, and also like, well, yeah, he deserved it. Like no feeling there, right? Like, of course, like he deserved to die. And it was just like straight face, and I was like, oh man. Whereas with the sociopath, I could feel his feelings. You know, I could
Mhm.
feel
Yeah.
like,
with this, it was just
It's just stone cold.
yeah, I was scared. Like I still worked with him for some time, but
Mhm.
I knew that he had the capacity to hurt me should he need to for some reason. You
If
know,
he had any probable
whereas
cause
that
in his mind.
sociopath, I dare I say this because I know we're never supposed to say this, but like I just don't feel like he would have hurt me. Like I just don't believe he would
yeah.
have.
You don't know, but you don't feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
not saying I know he
Yeah,
wouldn't. You're,
right.
So-
But the psychopath, you're like, there any God given chance
I'm not
that
safe.
he.
I'm
when
not
you're
safe.
collecting these, like when you're with them, are they handcuffed?
So it depends on the yard.
Okay.
So in the hole within the hole, or the hole within the prison where I spent a majority of my time, they were.
They were. Okay.
Yeah. And then what we call the main yard, the main line, they're not. So they're just in your office, and they're like this close to you, like kind of where you guys are sitting, like this distance.
Okay.
And they're just there on a chair. So they can lunge at you. They can.
Have you ever been assaulted? That was gonna be
No, thank God. Thank God. Yeah, I know,
I'm just trying to think of like getting my eyeballs gouged out.
I
right?
mean,
With the spoon, I'm like,
Like with a
that's
spoon. Like
So you've worked with serial killers, murderers, rapists.
yeah,
All of these people
all the
on a
all
daily
the things
basis.
every day.
Is there any clients that have like tried to like manipulate you?
Oh my gosh, yes, yes. I've had inmates, one in particular, I can tell you about that. Like, he was really trying to play me. Like, he was like, Dr. Sakhrani, I can help you make $10,000 in one day. And I was like, cool, how? I was obviously humoring him.
Yeah.
And he's like, all you have to do is bring in 10 cell phones and I will give you $1,000 for each cell phone. And I was like, oh, tell me more. So then he had this whole plan about how I can sneak in the cell phones and then he'd get me the money right away because he has people who want to buy them. And I was like, okay, so what's going to happen right now is you're going to get written up. I'm sending you to the hole. That was before I worked in the hole.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to extort me. You're trying to you're trying to have me lose my job
Get me in trouble.
and get me in trouble and lose my license. Like, and that's not going to fly. So that's like it's like big and small, right? And then I've had one guy who like this was like true. I felt truly manipulated. I was actually pretty like hurt about it for some time because I was like, damn, am I not a good clinician? Like, how did I not see this coming? Right. It like was a jolt to my ego, but he was really good at being a manipulator. I worked with him in the hole for 8 months. And I ran groups. So I was part of a program in which I ran groups for like a group of patients. And then they also saw me one-on-one once a week. So it's a DBT therapy. And that's kind of the model of the therapy, right? You do group and then you work with them individually, which is not the norm. So I had a lot of contact with this guy, right? And so I'm working with him a lot, but he's stringing me along. He's doing the homework. He's coming in with check-ins. He's like, I thought about what we talked about. Straight A. And that I'm like, oh wow, I'm making progress with him. He's gonna change. Like, this is so great. And in a space like that, when you have a patient who's like adhering to treatment, it's fucking golden. Yeah, it's like all we want.
That's what we want.
You're like, I am doing my job.
Yes.
Correctly.
So green. I'm like, I'm here. I'm making a change. And
little to know that he's a sociopath.
Dude.
Like,
how did you find out that he was like
playing me the whole time? So this is one of the tricks that they would do. Okay, so we have something. Okay, are you guys familiar with the structure of like a cell, like a building, like a cell, what we call like a cell block? So it's like you walk into a building and there's like three sections that are typically 3 sections that are all cells, like upstairs and downstairs. Okay. And there's A block, B block, C block, right? So it's like 1, 2, 3. And one of the sections is typically where they house folks who are like have sex crimes. Okay. And their doors are covered with like yellow paper. So it like indicates that, okay, be careful guys. Like these are, this is this type of inmate, right?
Yes.
So he was on that side.
Okay.
So they had these like games that they would play where they would say that they're suicidal or they need someone to come to the building immediately to assess them because they're going to kill themselves and hurt themselves. So one of my other patients who was in the group, he was like suicidal, right? So I had to go to the building, which means that you go inside the building. It's like a fish tank, right? So you walk in as a clinician, you're one girl and there's all these dudes around and they just see you. Everyone can see you. And these like places where you assess the patients are right in the middle of the building, right in the middle, in the center, so everyone can see you, right? So
who designed this? Okay, keep going.
A man.
I'm like,
has to be, right?
I'm like you poor thing.
Not for sure, but
I'm like, go back to the phrase. I'm just a girl going around from A to B to C.
She's just doing her job. Okay,
just trying to save this guy,
Lord.
suicidal guy's life. So I go and I'm assessing him, right? And mind you, I'm in the middle. It's like in the it's
all
called
these all these inmates are
like,
staring at you.
Yes. So the what we call a treatment module, and think of like a London telephone booth.
Oh yeah,
like that's what they look like, right? If someone is like in crisis, they put them in this like telephone booth thing in the middle of the cell.
Okay.
I mean of the building. And so the patient who played me, his cell was like kind of front and center to this like phone booth, so you could see it. So I'm assessing the patient, and I look, and I'm like here, and I can see the cell right behind this treatment module, and he's masturbating, and he's just masturbating, and we lock eyes, and because I couldn't believe what I was seeing, right? I'm like, am I really seeing this? But I don't want to see this.
Knew
but
that
like
you were going to say
my
this.
brain couldn't function.
I knew you were going to say this. There was something that I already knew that you were going to say that.
Sex crime. It was like so gross. So I see him, he sees me. I'm like, am I really seeing what and it's all happening so fast. And you like
made eye contact, which is like even worse.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. It's what he wanted. Like I know he wanted me to see that. He wanted to get that control over me. Like there's like a power, there's like a sense of control.
He's like doing it. Yeah. He's staring straight at it. It's like he's got his like prey.
Yes. Oh. Exactly. So I end the what we call a crisis call. I end the crisis call and I walk into the sergeant's office, which is also kind of in the middle of the building. And I'm like, dude, I just got IEX, which is it's indecent exposure. So it's what we call an IEX. So I was indecently exposed to something that I
did not want to see. That I did not want to see.
That I did not want to. Do you know how many things like penises that I have seen that I just did not sign up for?
You're like, I didn't sign
there
up
was
for
no
this.
consent.
No.
Too many.
No.
More than I probably like actually signed up for in real life.
You're like, I've seen every sort of psychopathic penis.
Too much.
There is out there.
Like
unprotected. It's not cute.
I have to ask you. Okay, wait, do I finish your story and then I'll ask.
So that happened. So I'm like, all right, we got to write this guy up. Okay. And immediately take him off my caseload. He is no longer my patient. I am not going to work with him anymore. So he gets written up. He gets taken off my caseload. Well, and I come to find out that he gave the guy who went suicidal a tub of coffee, and so he could go suicidal, so I could go into the building and assess him so he could jack off. Like that's the manipulation. Like that's the level of it all, right? So he gets taken off my caseload. He's pissed. He's livid. Dr. Sakhrani, how dare you? How could you take me off your caseload? I didn't do anything, blah, blah. He's denying it. Fast forward. He's desperate now because he's pissed. He's pissed at me. I'm like, whatever. He ends up like essentially stalking me. He like finds my address, my family members' information, tells the people, the officers that I was in a relationship with him. And here's how, look, she gave me her address, her phone number, her family's information. No. Yeah, she wanted this. She wanted this. She asked me to do this.
No, I did not,
And by the way, like every time I was in her office, like she was paying me to masturbate for her.
Oh. Excuse me, sir. This is how you ended up in prison.
Yeah, for real. Because he did have a crime against a woman. It was bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was investigated. Like they found so much cash in his cell, and he was like, where's for months and months
from? Well, not her.
Yeah,
you know what?
I was like,
I have to ask you.
She's not paying for sex.
Yeah. Well, not even sex, just to watch him masturbate. She's definitely not doing that.
She's like, I'm going to pay top dollar. In
that cell. Like this is a good show. No, I'm good.
Mind you, like my office, like. Everything's glass, right? Yeah, everything is like open because like
can see,
there's no
like, they saw us during it, and I'm sure it's recorded.
Like, right.
Here you go, baby.
Not like the actual audio, but like the visual.
There's cameras.
There's cameras everywhere. Okay, I have to ask you.
I brought in cash, guys, and I was just.
You're just here. You go, sir. What attracts you to this? Like what?
Like, what makes you want to do this?
What makes you want to do this?
So it's really crazy because like there's all of this stuff that is like pretty psycho and like
I hear this and I'm like,
but it's like I know like why, right? And so
I have to ask.
I it's also so fascinating, right? Never will we ever encounter like as a clinician in any space this level of like it's just the layered trauma. It's like what we call complex trauma, sociopathy, just so many like mental health issues within this like system that just needs so much help and so much work and so much. These guys, there are a good amount of them that are motivated and like want to change and want to do better. And so when we get those patients, when I get those patients, it's so rewarding. Like I just love my job, and it keeps it interesting and fresh. I also have a private practice, right, where I like work with like everyday people and it keeps me balanced. It allows me to do that work.
Yes, 100%.
Because it can be really heavy and like
grounding.
Yeah. And it's
Pretty
challenging. But I like challenging. Like, I think I would go crazy if I wasn't like challenged in that
and
way.
I feel like
so
if you didn't have that balance, you feel like you have to have that balance for your like personal life too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm just a girl who's just trying to live.
You're just trying to live.
Which is a girl that doesn't want to get unwarranted
I
masturbation.
don't want
Yeah.
to see things I
So,
didn't ask for.
I don't.
Yeah.
Can I ask you
I'm
which
gonna have a nightmare about that later.
Oh no,
I'm gonna
don't.
be like,
I've had them for all of us.
Yeah.
Don't, like,
she's lived
took me months
she's
to get
seen
over
enough
that
for all of
one.
us.
I was like,
She's
what
seen
did I
enough.
do? What did I
She's seen
miss?
enough.
You know, like that was a huge learning experience for me. And it really forced me to keep my guard up, like even more, which sucks for the guys who really want to do the work and who are
sure.
really like
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
manipulating, but
Mhm.
he was really good at like manipulating. And so that was like
So I think
lesson.
I'm gonna know the answer to this, but do you truly feel that people can be rehabilitated back
Yes.
into our society?
Absolutely. I do. And it's for the sociopathy part. Like not all of them are sociopaths,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Not all of the guys who are in prison are, but so much of why they got there was because of their environment.
Mhm.
This is a Dr. Sakhrani belief, and it's
Mhm.
just based on my
Of
experience,
course,
right?
Yeah.
They were conditioned to do so much of what they did and how they survived, right? Their
Mhm.
adaptive functioning,
Mhm.
like their survival. And so we can help them unlearn that. And most of them want to be different, you know? There's just so many barriers
They
sometimes.
just don't know how.
They just
And they
don't know
need help.
how. Like one guy, he didn't from a very young age, he would like pee in the bed, right?
Mhm.
And then when I learned about his life, he was living in such a chaotic home community, and he didn't realize that like so much of how he was showing up as an 8-year-old was because he was stressed. Like it's so basic, right? Like
Mhm.
we understand like when we're stressed or when we're depressed or when, you know, there's some stuff coming up for us. It's just about learning those basic things, and then because they just don't know, you know, a lot of them just have never been taught to identify emotions or learn things in a different way.
And that's where you come in.
And then here comes me, and I'm like, I want to help these guys. I want
That's
to make a
amazing.
change.
We need her in this world, because if it wasn't like you and I would say like, no, we couldn't do something like
Yeah,
that.
it takes a very special person to do what you do, and
And that's incredible.
And
honestly,
be like
you're
who
not just
you
a
are.
girl, you're just a super girl.
Yeah,
Just-
you're a super girl. Because if you really think about it, like you seeing these people
Mhm.
every day
Mhm.
and it being the person that you are, that's
Mhm.
hard to like turn that off.
Mhm.
And so it really does take a
Mhm.
special kind of person.
Mhm.
You're special.
Thank
You're an amazing girl.
Thank
know.
you.
Supergirl.
So
Thank
if
you.
you like had like a one-liner
A mic
about your psycho, which is your job, like what you do for a living,
Mhm.
what would it be?
You know, I feel like what I've learned just from understanding that sort of psycho is that we're all kind of a little psycho. And okay, this is like maybe an unpopular opinion, but like I think we all have a little bit of psycho in us. We just
Mhm.
have to take accountability for it
Mhm.
and then make the change. That's it.
We're all a little psycho.
We are.
But we need to
I
take
feel like
accountability.
right?
It's
It
But we need to
sprinkles
take-
of it.
There can be good psychos.
Yes.
But then there can be bad.
Right?
And
We all
yes.
have a little bit. I mean, I know I do. There's like things
Oh.
that I do where I'm like, oh, why'd you do that? So psycho.
Right? But it's just the way that like
Maddie jumped in a garbage can or whatever it was. The dumpster.
I
So
broke
we
into
both-
a guy's house. I did.
Girl.
I did.
So we all
We
have
broke
it.
up with my ass, and I was like, "Are you cheating on me?" I was at that point. I was the psycho.
So we all have
Can I
it.
tell
We all
you
have
that
it.
I've done that too?
dude.
Me and my best
Damn.
friend, we dressed in black and we're like, we're gonna go. We're gonna break into his house and I'm gonna steal his CDs. This was a long time ago when we had like CDs. And I was like,
Did you get the CDs?
oh, because that was his like prize. But oh yeah.
Well,
And then he was
it
talking to me. He's
so-
like,
dude,
he's
at
like,
least you were in black. I
dude.
was in my club
She was in,
outfit.
like, clubbing.
So there was, if you,
We're
if they had
talking
a camera,
sequins and
thank
glitter.
God there wasn't cameras, because if he was had a camera, nope, no black. It was just me in a mini skirt hopping over a fence. So you probably saw my everything. And I was like, where is everybody? And I'm in their house, and I go through his trash
I'm
can to make
dead.
sure there wasn't like
The
stuff.
story gets me every time. The story
I
gets me
literally
every
call
time
my
she
best
talks
friend. I'm like,
about it.
I'm at his house. I just had to know all my pictures. All of our
Sometimes we
pictures
just
were
need to
turned
know.
over. I turned them up. I
No.
turned them up.
He's like the ghost of Maddie.
I was
here.
ghost of Maddie. Boom. And I didn't do anything else. I didn't
ghost.
steal anything. I just like, looked in trash cans, making sure there wasn't anything that I needed to know.
Mm-hmm.
And then my best friend's like, get the out. And I was like, oh, I gotta go. And so then I hopped
That's
back
funny,
over the
you
fence.
did the same thing.
I did the same thing, but I recruited my best friend.
At least you got the CDs.
Because he lived far away.
didn't
And I was
get
like, are you
anything.
down for this drive? Like, we're going to drive here. It's about
could get
45
those
minutes.
CDs, girl.
I got the CDs.
I
and
had
got
the used
out.
up in my room. I had someone break out.
Okay, I wasn't that bad. Her ex-boyfriend was like sitting on a mat for like 4 years. I didn't do that outside your house. I wouldn't go that far, okay?
48 hours.
I did it secretly, okay? I wasn't like, like in a ball. Like, I'm not that bad, okay? Okay, so everybody's gonna want to know. Well, obviously they want to know where to find you on like social media and everything, but there might be people that are not in the prison,
Yeah.
but like want a psychologist and somebody to talk to, things like that.
Yeah.
Like, how can our guests find you?
You can find me at Dr. Sakhrani, Dr. Kajal Sakhrani on IG. That's my IG handle. Or my website, which is also Dr. Kajal Sakhrani, KajalSaKhrani.
Yay. You don't have to go to prison to see her, okay?
No.
Yeah, no, please don't.
Please don't. I don't want you to get locked up.
There. She would rather
Any
just
of the
see you as
listeners.
a patient in her private
Yes.
practice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
We're all a little psycho.
Yep.
We're all a little psycho.
We're all a little psycho.